Once you've found your project topic and you have your two files in a Galaxy history, the next step is going to be to look at the quality of those files and clean them up, and then look at the quality again. We're going to take two different approaches. In 2.02, we're going to run multiple apps to test quality and clean up the data. In 2.03, we're going to just use a single app called FASTP to do it all in one. And then you'll decide which of those two outputs you want to use for your project. And everybody can make a different decision. It's really a balance. What you're looking for is to have high quality data, but not throw out too much of your data. So you're trying to make sure you have 10,000 reads for each of those samples. So depending on how much you start with, you're going to choose a different approach. So when we go to our Galaxy history, if you've used the FASTQDL, you're going to have to do a couple steps to unpack that FASTQ file before you run Trimmomatic. So the first thing that you would do is you would click on Hidden. And when you look at the hidden data sets, you can actually click on a step that doesn't show up in your history, where it's going to have the ERR number, and you can click here and you can unhide it. Once you've done that, now your data set shows up as a list, but it also shows up as an independent thing. This is going to be really helpful because this is going to be easier to run applications on. The other thing we can see is the format. It's still a compressed FASTQ file. And in order to feed it into Trimmomatic, we're going to have to groom it. So if we look up FASTQ groomer, it's going to convert between various FASTQ file types, and it will let us take the ERR file and turn it into a FASTQ groomer file. I've already done that, so I can unhide that step in the history, and you can see what it looks like. I want to make sure that now I rename these. I'm going to copy the information here, just so that I keep the value and I could look it up later. Appendix FQ file, right? Because it's not the list, it's actually just a file. And I'm going to rename this groomed no appendix FQ. Now I have input that can go into the FASTQC report. So I would run that on both of my samples once they're groomed files, and I've already done that, so I'll just clear and show that back in the history. When you run FASTQC, another thing you'll see is it creates two objects. I would hide raw data or delete it because we won't ever use it in this class. Once you run the FASTQC, we're going to run Trimmomatic. We're going to run a filter on the trim data. We're going to run FASTQC again, and we'll get a good idea of how the data got cleaned up. So I'm going to unhide all those steps. I'm going to rename them. So I have the groomed no appendix. I have FASTQC on groomed no appendix. I have the Trimmomatic data. So this would be trimmed no appendix. I have the filter FASTQ data, and you can see I didn't run that on the original data. I ran that on the trimmed data. So I'm going to make sure that the name tells me that, filtered and trimmed no appendix. And then I'm going to do a final FASTQC on cleaned no, well, I'll call it filtered and trimmed. Filtered and trimmed no appendix. So let's use these FASTQC reports to see what changed in the file. So if I look at this, I get a bunch of different pieces of information about all of the different kinds of data that's in here. I can see the per base sequence quality is quite high. It's all in the green area. I can see that there are 28,758 sequences. And so it's starting out pretty good. But once I've cleaned it up, I've lost some of the data. I'm now at 23,000 reads instead of 28,000 reads, but it is much more cleaned up. And so we've gotten rid of some of the information in the file that isn't high quality, and that will just help us work better through the next parts of the project. If I decide that I like this data better than what I create in the next assignment, step 15 is what I would feed into awk and then feed into Kraken. So those are the things that we're going to use. The FASTQC report, a couple people have accidentally fed that into the next steps. This is just for seeing what the data looks like. It's not the data. We need something that's a FASTQ format to feed into the next steps of the project.